Hello and welcome to another edition of Journalist Hangout. I'm Ayodele Ozubakun. Today on the Hangout, tribunal throws Idris Wada's petition out for lack of merit. Faleke vows to go to court and Yaya Bello says tribunal's ruling is victory to Kogi people. Boko Haram attacks Yobe community, set police station on fire, and later in the program, the federal government inaugurates committee to dialogue with the Niger Delta militants. So, if you're ready, let the hangout start now. The air of confusion surrounding who truly won the November 21st, 2015 Kogi governorship election is beginning to clear. Yesterday, Kogi State Governorship Election Petition Tribunal, sitting in Abuja, dismissed the petition filed by James Faleke, challenging Governor Yaya Bello's election. It's true that his petition lacked merit because he was not the governorship candidate of the All Progressive Congress and did not participate in the party's primaries. But the state chapter of the All Progressive Congress has condemned the judgments. James Faleke says he would pursue his case until justice is served. Today, the same tribunal threw out the petition of former governor of the state, that is Idris Wada, also for lack of merit. Wada said he was the candidate with the highest vote alive, so he should be declared winner. Can Kogi indigents now say they have a governor? A big question indeed. Babajide Kolade Stoju is in the house again today. Jide, you're welcome.
Good evening, viewers.
And I also have my friend Wahid Bakari.
Good evening, viewers.
And Olayinka Egbile.
Nice to be here again.
On his Yoruba hat today.
Yes.
Different style.
Away from the Congo.
The man with a million caps.
Now, let me take you to yesterday. Faleke vows to appeal this tribunal's verdict in the higher court today. And from what he said yesterday, he said he was celebrating that he's not in any way feeling defeated, that he can see light at the end of the tunnel, that the tribunal did not touch what they even went to court for.
It's a deliberate action. The grounds upon which they filed the petition, the tribunal refused to talk about it. Instead, it wasted its time talking about irrelevant things that Faleke did not what was even the language, that he should have gotten the party involved. You know, like when you...
That he wrote to INEC instead of the party.
No, like when you file a suit, for example, now, and you say, okay, you should
join.
I should have joined
Okay.
a party.
Okay.
Although Nigerian newspapers are reporting that the judge said he should have joined the INEC. No, what the judge said was I should have joined the party. But the reality is, a party that openly said we are not going to back you, we don't want you to be the governor. Why should he join that party?
Them.
That means the party will go to the tribunal to dig Faleke's grave. So it was deliberate. What Faleke wanted was for the tribunal to determine whether the election was conclusive or not. Because that election was conclusive.
Because he didn't recognize that supplementary election at all.
No, he had no plan to be in the supplementary election. If he wanted to be in the supplementary election, he would have allowed the party to make him the deputy. Remember, Faleke said on Channels TV that the governor of Kaduna State even prostrated for him, that look, do the bidding of the party. And he was like, why should somebody that he respects so much go to that extent? You know, that to the extent of prostrating, that let the party's wish be done and all that. And he said, no, what I want, that election was concluded. There's no difference between the Kogi election and the election that gave victory to former Senate President David Mark. There's no difference in that Kogi election and the Bayelsa election, because what we are talking about here are voided votes, said to be higher than the margin of victory. You covered the Bayelsa election. Remember, that was the point that former governor Timipre Silva's agent, that was the point that he made. He said this can't be a conclusive election because of the margin, the voided votes were higher than the margin of victory. But INEC went ahead and declared him. It is only in Kogi State where a few people made up their minds to use power in a reckless manner that this kind of idea has taken root. In Nasarawa State, under the same circumstance, the result was announced. How do you determine whether an election was concluded or not? Results were announced for every local government, Ayo. So you can't call that an inconclusive election. So if you didn't do it, if INEC didn't do it in Bayelsa, if INEC didn't do it for Nasarawa, if INEC didn't do it in the case of former Senate President David Mark, why should it be Kogi State that you now say that is an inconclusive election? That is the point. He wanted the tribunal to determine whether that election was conclusive or not. Secondly, he wanted the tribunal to look at Yaya Bello. By our laws, you cannot be deemed to have been validly elected if you did not take part in the voting. You have to vote and be voted for. It is very clear. And in this case, Yaya Bello was not even registered in Kogi State. It was registered in Maitama in Kaduna, in Abuja. So he didn't vote during the first election. He didn't vote even in the election where he got 6,000 votes and then he was declared winner. So are they going to expunge that portion of our laws to allow a man who did not register to vote in Kogi State and who didn't vote in the election to be made governor? So these are salient points about which the tribunal kept quiet, and the tribunal was now attacking Yaya Bello and saying that Yaya Bello should not have gotten a deputy, that Faleke remains the deputy. Now, if you give that kind of order, if you say Faleke remains the deputy, why didn't you go ahead to say, okay, they should sack the deputy that is there? Because every time that I've seen this kind of situation, the court will give an order.
Consequential order.
Yes. The man who is there now, it happened in Adamawa State.
Yeah.
It happened in Taraba State. They chased the governor away. Yeah. What's that guy's name again? The deputy to Danfula Nesuntai. He was chased away. The court gave that order. In this case, this tribunal refused to, they said, Faleke remains the deputy. Of course, the tribunal chose to play the game of INEC.
Okay.
By forcing Faleke to be a deputy, an unwilling deputy to Yaya Bello.
We got reaction from the governor of Kogi State, Alhaji Yaya Bello.
There's a judgment between me and my brother, Honorable Abiodun Faleke. So Faleke is not my opponent. We belong to the same party, and it's just an explanation that he sought from the party, from the court, and court has given his own explanation to him. I want to believe he will understand. He's my brother, he should come and join me. My advice is that all those who want to cause division within the party should drop that idea. They should come and let's unite our party, let's unite the state.
Wahid, Governor Bello is not talking tough. The way he's taking it like somebody that, this is an intra-party thing. We don't need to, wash our dirty linens outside, that it was just a small argument within brothers.
Well, that should be expected, considering the fact that you know how politicians behave. I won't expect him to be talking tough at this time. Moreover, he's not even sure of where it will end at the end of the day, because they still have to go to higher courts to get final determination. What if at the end of the day, the pendulum swings in favor of Faleke, and now he's talking tough? What will now be his fate? I think he's trying to play safe by extending the hand of fellowship to Faleke. But I don't see a situation whereby Faleke will work with him as the deputy governor. In what capacity? There's already there's already a sitting deputy governor. The deputy governor. The court did not. The tribunal did not say the deputy governor should vacate. So if you are now asking him to, I don't know in what capacity.
I think choosing that deputy governor really complicated the whole thing, and the situation was very, very dicey.
It was like he has made up his mind that since Faleke has withdrawn from the race and he has returned to the house. You will remember that he officially wrote the house when he was leaving, and when the former governor died, and they had to do another election, and he withdrew his candidature as a deputy governor. He went back to the house, he wrote a letter, and he was welcomed with open arms and with so much celebration. Now, the man already has made up his mind that he will not work with the man that is the governor now. I don't see any reason why. And the man who is the governor now and himself made up his mind not to work with him, as far as I can see. All this olive branch and so on is just to say that, okay, the court has ruled. If, when the man was sworn in, is it there in the constitution that the deputy governor must be sworn in on the same day with him? No. Is it?
I think so.
Okay, so.
I think so.
So
on the inauguration, the deputy governor will take his oath first.
Yes,
before the
I know
governor.
that. But in this, in the situation where they found themselves at that time,
his name was called.
Was it?
And they called. Yes, they called his name at the.
So was it
stadium?
Very, very important that the governor must choose a deputy when the case is still ongoing in court? Well, the man has said he's not interested in being a deputy governor. And I don't, in fact, the judgment of the tribunal didn't surprise me. We have had such cases right from beginning. You will notice that the trend is at the tribunal level, and this is not as a sort of to tarnish the tribunal or whatever, but at tribunal level, judgments given there are always, quote and unquote, like let's maintain the status quo, and the upper court may likely change the judgment or whatever. But what I foresee in this case is that we are in for a very long haul.
Okay, let's just take the reaction of James Abiodun Faleke.
The judges have delivered their own judgment. I'm going to consult my lawyers, upon which I am very certain that we appeal the judgment. And I also think that the judges didn't look at the main case of the main subject of our case. I was not concerned about supplementary election. I had no business with supplementary election. Our concern was that election was concluded on the 21st, and we are duly elected as enshrined in the Constitution and the Electoral Act. And if it says I was not duly elected, well, we will wait for the appeal and the Supreme Court to decide.
Even the All Progressive Congress in Kogi State, you know, I watched this Joker Adis's report yesterday when they were saying that they were not comfortable with the reports, the judgment, and they were urging Honorable James Faleke to go ahead and appeal that particular judgment. Is it that Yaya Bello couldn't have taken over? Okay, let me quickly take that reaction from the political party before
the treasurer.
We wanted justice, and we were disappointed that justice was not. It's disappointing that this is happening, but we have hope in judiciary, and from the beginning, particularly APC Kogi, we are with Honorable James Abiodun Faleke that he should please talk to the supporters of Kogi that they should remain calm, that there will be a big light at the end of the tunnel. That he should please talk to them, and we are telling him and the whole world that he should proceed on appeal, that we will support him.
a big light at the end of the tunnel, Jide. It's intriguing. This is politics. Yaya Bello has been there for over 100 days now, and he has not been able to get the confidence of that political party. What do you think is playing out here?
No, you see, from the beginning, I think one action that Faleke took early, which got him tremendous support, especially of the Igala stock, who are in overwhelming majority. The Igalas are about 56% of the population. Now, he made Abubakar Audu's son his running mate. After that, the whole equation changed. Because initially, the Igalas were not so keen about supporting him. But the moment he made that move, the whole equation changed. And then, don't forget that the ESCO in the state, because Audu was the leader of the party in the state, the people in the APC ESCO in the state are dominated by Audu's loyalists. You know? So, naturally, you expect that Audu having picked Faleke as his running mate, and Faleke having picked Abubakar Audu's blood as his running mate, they will gravitate naturally towards Faleke. Yaya Bello, the supplementary governor, is not popular in Kogi State. What he has been doing now is giving appointments to well-known PDP supporters. And that is the reason why even the party members in Kogi State, they are not happy with him. People that they knew were not real supporters or real members of the APC are the people that is giving appointments to here and there. So the party has actually been complaining about this. So this is the problem. I think that he knows that majority of the APC members in Kogi State see him as an impostor, someone who has come to reap where he did not sow, someone who took his party to court. Remember, he took the party to court over the emergence of Audu, and he refused to withdraw that case. He said Audu was being tried by the EFCC. So he thought he would win that case so that he would now be installed as the winner of the primary. But it didn't happen. And in anger, he left for Abuja. He made no effort to transfer his registration. Faleke transferred his registration from Lagos to Kogi. A lot of his supporters, so that they can take part in the election, they transferred their listen. But in his own case, he saw it as a fait accompli. He thought that he could never come back. But some other people in Abuja had other ideas, and they decided to bring him. So by the time they brought him, he hadn't transferred his registration.
And it was too late.
And it was too late. In fact, his chief of staff lied that it was INEC that didn't help them to transfer the registration on time. And INEC came out to say there was no such application for transfer of registration sent to them.
Okay, let me take my first caller. Abiodun is calling from Osun State. Thank you, Biodun.
Yeah, good evening. I'm a first-time caller.
Hey, Biodun.
From Oshogo.
Yeah.
Oh,
Good to have you.
Yeah, I want to make a little contribution. Good evening, Babajide.
Good evening, Oabe.
I have other
Yeah.
person in the studio.
Namesake of our governor to be.
My contribution is this. I want Abiodun Faleke to exercise some patience, because I know there will always be light at the end of the tunnel. Because the case is so clear. It's very, very clear. There are no two ways. What do you expect from the tribunal? If you look at the whole situation from the onset, you know there are some things that actually played out. You know, Abiodun Faleke is from Yoruba speaking of Kogi. And what actually, Kogi has always been a peculiar state. That from the onset of that state, no Yoruba speaking indigene has ever been the governor of that state. And I think that's one particular thing that we have to contend with. It is wrong. How can you say because certain people are minority in a particular state. So they shouldn't be the governor of that state. It's wrong.
Thank you, Biodun. Thank you for your contribution. We got that gist. And earlier today, the former governor, I think, when I saw this application, that Idris Wada actually went to court, that it should be declared as the governor is the person that is called, is the one that is with the highest votes alive. The governor that, on the basis of his performance, an incumbent governor that was voted out, as in did not even, it's not even in the equation. He's not coming out that because Abubakar Audu's demise, that is the one with the highest vote alive. What's the meaning of this?
You should not be surprised. You know that the average Nigerian politician is an incurable optimist. You know, and lawyers, with apologies to them, they will always look for a way to convince them that, no, don't worry, there are chances that you can still get this thing. I think it was based on that. And a lot of people also felt that with the way things were going in APC, that at the end of the day, he's going to be the beneficiary.
Yes.
He's going to be the beneficiary. But I don't see that situation. The only fear I have in this case is, if you look at similar cases in the past, there is this fear that the Supreme Court, you know, has not been consistent in some of their judgments. If you take your mind back to what happened in the case of Rotimi Amechi and Celestine Omeha, you discover that they said, oh, it is the party that people actually voted for and not candidate. But when it turned out to be the case of Atiku Abubakar, and when he left PDP, you know, the same Supreme Court now said, no, the loyalty of Abubakar is to the country and not to the party. And a lot of people are worried that where will this one, where we depended on swing this time around. But I think at the end of the day, our democracy will benefit from it. The only thing that we require from the Supreme Court is that they should be consistent, so that once there is a similar case like this, we know where it will end. In fact, people will not have to be coming to court all the time. They know that a precedent has been set in the past, and we know where it ended. Of course, this one will also go the same way.
Yinka, do you think Idris Wada is just wasting the time of the courts? As the judges
Very well. You see, in fact, that Idris Wada's case is like a farcical comedy. It's a comedy kind of thing you expect to see from Aluwe and the rest of them. What? On what ground?
Charlie Boy show.
On what
So
ground?
lawyer must have told him. They must have encouraged him.
But
Let's
on
go
what
ahead.
ground?
Highest vote alive, runner up.
Now, in this situation, it was not as if the governorship candidate and the deputy governorship candidate were incapacitated at the same time. If that were to be the case, maybe you will have a case. But in this situation, I mean, he's just wasting his time. He's wasting the court's time. He's wasting the court's money. He's wasting his own money. And, well, the lawyers will have their own dividend of democracy from him. So.
After this break, Boko Haram attacked Yobe community, burns down a police station. We'll be right back after this time out. Don't go away. Last December, the federal government bragged about defeating the dreaded Boko Haram terrorist group. In January, President Muhammadu Buhari told Nigerians that the group had been degraded and can no longer launch military-style attacks. But recent events showed that the bloodshed continues. Families are still torn apart, communities are deserted, and people are still being slaughtered. Last Friday, hundreds of Boko Haram fighters attacked a military post in Boso, a Nigerian border community, set military transport vehicle on fire, killed 32 soldiers, and took over the community. Just this morning, the group attacked Kanamak town in Yobe State, killing an unknown number of residents and setting a police post ablaze. Now, the United Nations says this year alone, the group has launched 30 deadly attacks in different targets and warns internally displaced persons against returning to their homes. Is Nigeria truly winning this war against Boko Haram? Babajide, from the angle I want us to look at it, because I thought this thing has been limited to inner Sambisa forest. That because yesterday when we got an information, yesterday I was asking you, is it in Mediguri or what happened? But taking this dimension, going all out to Yobe States, you know that maybe they've how will you call it? Maybe they've gone to, re-strategized, and in any way, it's not looking as if this group, if you can kill 30 soldiers, it's not looking as if they've been incapacitated as we're meant to believe.
Well, you see, we've substantially dealt with them, but we have not defeated them. I've said it repeatedly here. Some people think I'm not a patriot because I choose to tell the truth. We have not defeated them. This is not how to defeat terrorists. This is not how to defeat terrorists. This is a war that may last many years. We must just prepare our minds for it. It is the nature of this kind of warfare that it lasts. Tamil Tigers were involved in a battle with the Sri Lanka government for 25 years.
25?
Yes, before they were defeated. So why some people think that Boko Haram can be defeated in just a few years, I don't understand. And we keep deceiving ourselves that they are not holding any territory. And we go and rescue hundreds of people in some communities. So if you are not holding that community, will you be able to keep 300 people hostage there? Even the Sambisa forest that we are bombing, the targets that we are bombing in Sambisa forest, are they not Nigerian territory? If they are not holding those grounds, if they are not holding those positions, are we going to feel the need to go and be bombing them? That is the thing. The reality is, Boso, for example, Boso in Niger Republic took over Boso town. They attacked the military post and chased the soldiers away. They chased the soldiers away and took Boso town on Friday. By Saturday, the Nigerian army took back Boso. Boko Haram launched a fierce counterattack on Sunday and retook Boso again.
That's the same town?
Yes. Boso, about a year ago, Nigerian soldiers killed more than 500 Boko Haram fighters in Boso. So it's been a kind of ding-dong affair between Boko Haram fighters and these Nigerian forces. And then Kanama that they've gone to is along the border with Niger Republic. You know, some parts of Yobe State actually share this thing with Niger Republic. So what we do not know at this time is whether they are trying to create a kind of fortress for themselves around Niger Republic, from where they can begin to attack communities in Yobe State and communities along the Chad basin, because Boso is around that Chad basin, around the the banks of Lake Chad. So their intentions, you really cannot say these are their intentions. What we know and we continue to say is that even in Nigeria, Boko Haram still holds on to some communities. Before you can read that our soldiers, that they've gone to Mate, Abadam, Moba, that they've gone to attack Boko Haram, there you wait and wait and wait, because Boko Haram literally runs riot in those 3 local governments. And then the northern fringes of Gubbio, they are also running riot in those areas. Remember the day we were talking about this on this program, and some of our viewers were testing the name of their towns that are being held by Boko Haram. So we have not won this war. We should stop deceiving ourselves. Whatever we can do to inflict a mortal blow on these people, let us concentrate on doing that and limit propaganda. I'm particularly impressed with what the Nigerians did. It was the mayor that came out to say, look, Boko Haram has taken over our town. That will probably not happen in Nigeria. Remember that senator in Borno State who said Boko Haram was controlling some local government. They abused him thoroughly. There was no name that they didn't call him, you know, because we really don't like the truth in Nigeria. That is our problem. And a country that detests the truth so much, it will be difficult for that country to make progress.
Why how come with how do we have in terms of logistics, in terms of how these people get in ammunition, get in food, getting a lot of things that will make you that you can sustain this kind of insurgency attack for a very long period, and because of our porous border and everything, I thought when you see stories like the supplier of this was apprehended, the fuel dump, or they got to the fuel dump and they've arrested this person, the leader here, the leader there, we think the impression we all had in Nigeria was that substantially we are coming in, we are getting in. But they seem to be waxing stronger.
Yes, if you recall that shortly before the commencement of the Ramadan, I don't know whether it's the army chief, one of the top military guys, you know, came out to say that they have gathered intelligence report which shows that there are going to be massive attack by Boko Haram during the Ramadan period. Yeah. But my worry is that if we were able to know that there is going to be such attack, why can't that same intelligence report be used to prevent to do a kind of preemptive attack? To do a kind of preemptive attack, because you knew that you had a premonition that they are going to do this thing, and here they are doing it. But that is not to say that we have not achieved any success. If you look at you know, like Jide rightly said, terrorism is not a conventional war. So it's not something that if you achieve little success, you relax. You have to be consistent to make sure that because they will always regroup. Remember that in 2009, or was it 2009 or 2010, when their former leader was killed, Mohammed Yusuf, you discover that for almost a year, there was a lull in their activities until when that man came on board, Shekau, the man with the proverbial cat with 9 lives, when he came on board to say that I've taken over the leadership of this group, that was when they became deadly again. So they will always regroup. And let us know the fact that, you know, terrorism is a global thing. They work hand in hand. They will always get support here and there. And our border is very porous. You discover that there was a time that they were not getting food supply in the north. Yes. They had to they came to Lagos. I learned that some of their food suppliers, you know, were arrested in Lagos because at that time the heat was really on them. Now in the past, if they are going, for you to know that we have recorded some measure of success, when they were in the past, when they are going for their attacks, you see them going in about 20, 30 e-logs. Yeah. But that one has stopped. They no longer do that. And why is it that, let us find out, why is it that they are now making use of girls as suicide bombers? It's because of the fact that they don't have enough men again. What they now capitalize on is that, okay, when they get those girls, you know, these are minors. These are girls who don't really understand what life is all about. It's very easy to brainwash them. They will now say, oh, go and do suicide attack. I think the bottom line is that the Nigerian security agents, they should not relax on their laurel. You can't just defeat them. And they should stop all this propaganda. Wherever you have achieved success, let us know that you have really achieved that success. Don't tell us success that are on the paper. Because there is no point when you tell us that you have they have been depleted. There is no doubt about it. That is my view. They have been depleted and their leadership has been weakened. But that is not to say that we have achieved, we have defeated them. We have achieved the desired results. They should just continue.
We're not there yet.
We are not there yet.
Okay. Yinka, the United Nations is saying that Boko Haram has carried out 30 attacks this year. When you look at the frequency, 30. This is just June.
Well, if you look at it, we're 30 in 6 months. Because, well, we are just in the 6th month now. It's quite huge, but what will happen is that I think our military is a bit being carried away by a false sense of security that we have defeated them substantially and therefore we can relax. It is a battle that is continuous. When Osama bin Laden was taken out, the US or the United Nations or the world did not say that they are finally settled or finished with terrorism. You must be constantly aware and ready because terrorism is not a thing that dies that fast. As Jude made mention of the Tamil tigers in Sri Lanka. I'm sure you still find some fringes of them around, but they have been decapitated substantially. So we should not fall into a false sense of security that we have already killed them or we have already decapitated them and then we don't have to worry again. In fact, this is the time to get more worrisome and get more alert because in small group, that is the one that will be more dangerous and they will attack targets that we don't expect.
All right, let me take this call from David. David is calling from Niger State. Hello, David.
Hello, good evening.
Good evening, David. Thank you for hanging out with us.
Yes, I'm a first-time caller. I've tried so much.
Oh, David.
First-time caller.
Nice having you on board, David. Thanks for calling.
My first observation about your program.
All right.
That is a very interesting one, and you are doing a very good job.
Thank you, David.
However, my worry is that I don't know where there are no female panelists.
Gender balance.
That's a good one.
Okay.
We'll look for them.
My producer is listening to you. Abayami will take care of that.
So why don't you have female panelists in the group?
We will get them, don't worry.
That's to say that we don't have women who are knowledgeable in some of the things we are discussing.
It's not a function of knowledge. I think
we have them in abundance.
We get to our female colleagues, female journalists.
We've used them in the past, sir.
Thank you for that observation. Okay. David from Niger State, thank you for that observation.
We use women.
I think we've had a couple of times, but then Abayami will work on that. Abayami is a challenge to you. When we return, federal government of Nigeria inaugurates committee to dialogue with Niger Delta militants. But are the militants ready for talks? We'll be right back after this time out. Welcome back. The crisis in the Niger Delta has become a big threat to the economy Nigeria's oil output has been terribly affected, and the 2.2 million barrel daily projection has become a mirage. Military option has not changed much, and as right now, the federal government is exploring dialogue with the militants. Yesterday, a committee was inaugurated to negotiate with them, and military operations were suspended in the region. But are the militants ready for talks? Last week, Niger Delta militants threatened to launch 6 missiles today and shut down Nigerian airspace. Yesterday, the same group threatened to attack the Central Bank of Nigeria, Aso Villa, and some states. Huge joke. Let me first of all ask you, do you think...
don't think you did.
No, as in talking about missile. I don't know how they come up, what they are talking about.
There are missiles that are not so big.
Short
Small
range
surface to air missiles that you can actually place on your shoulder. They call it shoulder launched missiles.
How do those
they
things
use those
come in?
ones to bring down an airplane.
Okay.
You know, somebody can sit in his hotel room. Maybe that hotel is located on a flight path with planes passing through the area, and then he can sit in the confines of his hotel room and fire that missile. They call it the Stinger missile. Can fire that missile shoulder launched to bring down an aircraft. And the reality is all kinds of weapons come into Nigeria, especially through the Niger Delta. They bring them in by sea. The black marketers, you know, they sell weapons. Look, a single powerful man in River State, for example, can have up to 50 boys guiding him on election day. About 50 boys guiding him, and each of them carrying a Kalashnikov. So we have weapons. Weapons are flooded some parts of our country. We must tell ourselves the truth. And when people issue threats...
I'm sure of that of the Niger Delta.
When people issue threats like this, it makes sense not to dismiss those threats.
Yeah.
What you can do is ensure that they don't carry out the threat. Protect all that you need to protect. Because I know during the Afghan war with Russia, the Afghans were carrying the Stinger missiles all over the place. It's shoulder launch. You place it on your shoulder and you launch it. And it's still there. There are people who are ready to sell. Even when America refused to sell weapons to you, we were able to go and buy weapons from Ukrainian rebels. You got those T-72 tanks that helped us to turn the table against Boko Haram just before the election. They were from Ukraine, from the black market. Because if you have placed an order for it from the makers, you could be waiting for like 5 years before they are delivered, because they will now go and do new ones for you. That's the problem. So the president, we have said it on this program, that the president needs to dialogue. It's not every time that you use force. It's not everything that you use force for. So what the president has done now is to say, okay, let us do ceasefire for the next 2 weeks. During that time, we could, speed up, negotiation with these people. Let us see whether they really want to negotiate. And they've made some demands. Some of those demands are easy to realize, except we are deceiving ourselves. So let us see. They have leaders that they listen to. Let us see whether by reaching out to these leaders that we can achieve something. I'm really impressed by the positive energy that Kachiku, the Minister of Petroleum, has invested in this whole negotiation thing. Of course, he's from Delta State. Delta is the worst hit by these attacks.
And his sector is threatened.
Yes. Look at Egypt just shot a 140,000 barrel per day facility. And we are telling ourselves that this is not a big deal. Of course, it's a big deal. Any serious president will want this to stop. By their actions, we are unable to have lights because they are attacking gas trunk lines. They are not allowing us to access gas.
It's very bad.
You know that in the last 1 week, the price of cooking gas has gone from about 2004 to about inching towards 4,000 now, 12.5. So, and this is the reason, this is the major cause of
that crisis.
You don't have cooking gas, and the same gas is what we are supposed to be using to pump, to use for energy generation. Yeah, for the turbines. So it is a wise thing to think about talking with them. But the question is, have they really come out? Do they know who these leaders
because
are?
I wanted to ask you,
Yes.
like, the difference between the agitation of the Niger Delta people is quite different from Boko Haram. Because Boko Haram, till tomorrow,
Yeah.
we don't, nobody
ones are
knows
not
what they
prepared to
want.
negotiate.
They are not prepared to negotiate. They don't want to
Even
have a
before
face.
now.
They don't even have a demand. The only
But these
thing-
ones
the
have
only
said,
thing-
these
yes,
ones have
this
rolled
is
out
what we
from that
want.
man.
But
That
they have
is-
not come out to know who is who.
And when you
Before
show,
now,
when you show a
leaders.
seriousness,
Before
They have
now,
leaders.
you know, during the last time, everybody knew Tompolo, Asari Dokubo, and their general or whatever they call themselves.
Boilo.
We know all
If you
those.
look at the composition of
But
that
now,
committee,
yes,
this negotiating team, federal government,
They will be able to-
traditional rulers.
Okay,
they have
yes.
even their traditional rulers involved.
Who will
People that
know-
they know in
yeah.
their community. Who is this person? Who is this person? They know
because those attacks are even worsening things. I can tell you, Ayo, that some fresh militants
Yes.
will evolve from
They
these
call
attacks.
themselves
Yeah.
You are
one
chasing,
other group.
you are
No,
chasing
there's one
people.
other, exactly.
Niger Delta Liberation.
Yeah.
whatever.
You are chasing pregnant women and other people into the bush.
Yeah.
That way, you are raising fresh militants without knowing it. So it makes sense to say, let this, and the demand of those boys that they don't even want to see soldiers in the creeks.
Yeah.
There are more than 3,000 creeks in the Niger Delta, and they are largely inaccessible. That's why, despite flooding the place with, we say, 100 gunboats and the rest of them, we have still not been able to stop them from
understand
bombing
that place.
pipelines.
Yeah.
So when we sit back, the point that I made the last time was, see, if I can trust the Nigerian armed forces that they will get this job done, I will not vote for negotiation.
Yeah.
But I'm not convinced that in the Niger Delta, for example, that we can actually achieve this, our aim militarily. If you go back to even the Civil War, battles in that part of Nigeria during the Civil War was very fierce.
Very, very.
Very fierce. We didn't find it easy. So people must go back to history and ask themselves, is it easy? Is it going to be easy to defeat these guys, given that terrain? You know? So now the president has said, okay, we stop, no attack for now. Let us see whether negotiation can proceed. And I think it's the best decision that he can take.
And you know, the militants themselves also gave themselves some operation code that our targets are installations, that they should not
kill anybody.
Kill any military or anybody. That they should not touch any military person. That it is only when the military touch any of them that they will do that. So with the fresh round of negotiation that the federal government has started, I think we might be at the end of the crisis.
I believe that
We have
Tompolo
this
is
call-
crucial to
Yeah.
the
We have
resolution
this
of
call
this.
from Delta State. Benedict,
Okay.
thank you for joining us, Benedict.
Yeah, good afternoon.
Yeah,
Oh, no.
Benedict.
I'm fine. I'm calling from Warri.
Worry.
Oh, the
The
hotbed.
the oil-rich town.
Go ahead,
Yeah, let me
Benedict.
thank you guys for all you guys are doing so far.
Thank
You're
you.
doing a very good job so far.
Thank you.
But I want to tell you something. I, as a person, will be very disappointed if the Niger Delta Rangers do not carry out their strike this night. See, we in Warri, we are tired of what is happening in Nigeria. Federal government do not take us for seriousness. Niger Delta produce the oil weight of this country. And yet, federal government cannot sit to plan how they can develop Niger Delta. But they can sit and plan how they can develop Abuja. Abuja, a desert land, has been turned into a paradise. How many federal roads do we have in the whole of Niger Delta compared to how many federal roads you have in Lagos alone?
Thank you, Benedict. Benedict, I can tell you that anybody that is planning that they attack your area or anything, it's so unfortunate, the situation we find ourselves, because if you are destroying a pipeline, if you destroy a pipeline, Ogoni now, they are talking about
who are the
30 years.
primary victims?
It's not going to.
They are not thinking of that. They are not thinking of that.
It's going
They
to take
believe
30 years
that
to clean up Ogoni.
they don't. Those boys don't care.
I'm
They
saying
don't
they are not
care.
even aware.
Disappointed
They
if
don't
they
know the
don't launch
consequences.
missiles against your people. Benedict, that's
No, they believe that the missiles will be launched in Abuja. You need to
Abuja.
understand how he's thinking. He's saying that the missiles, if they don't launch it in Abuja, that will be disappointed. He believes that the missiles won't be launched on residents of Niger Delta.
But we're not.
That's the way he's
He's not
thinking.
talking like a patriot.
He's not a
He's not
patriot.
bothered.
Did they tell you that he's a
No,
patriot?
It's
It's not a patriot.
It's so unfortunate.
There
that-
is anger in the land, and Audu Ogbe said something. He said he's worried that this anger stems from young people. That is extremely dangerous. That when this one is angry, and nobody is listening to anybody, that it is a very dangerous situation. We must sit down and talk. We must sit down and talk. As a people, we must sit down and talk. Otherwise,
that brings us back to our restructuring.
Yes, I think it's a good development that federal government has now come out to say let us negotiate. The fact that we don't know them now does not mean that there are some people who do not know them. There are people who know them. They know them. They have their leaders that they can listen to. But the bottom line is that this is a lesson for Nigeria. If we are serious about diversification of the...
He called Jonathan now.
If we are serious... Yes.
Met with Jonathan.
Yes,
Jonathan said negotiation.
Jonathan also said that negotiation is the only option for now. You can't use military strength.
No.
But this is the opportunity for Nigeria to start thinking of how to diversify the economy. The fact that we rely on one product, that is why we find ourselves in this mess. As it is now, Nigeria is at the mercy of those boys. If we are going to negotiate now, I doubt if we are not going to negotiate from the weak point.
From a very
weak point. Because they know that they hold the haze now. Yeah. They will now want to dictate that these are the things that we want.
So what is left of our crude oil now?
As at 3 or 4 days ago, Nigeria is losing over 10 billion naira daily. That is huge.
That's a broke country.
For a country that is broke,
of the fact that
over 10 billion naira. You cannot imagine how much we have lost in the last 2 or 3 weeks.
You know, that's why the president must have. Our president is stubborn.
So,
but
I think he has realized
everything put together, he must have seen that clearly.
He has realized
there's no better thing to do.
How will he run the government when there is no money? And this is the only source of getting money. So you now want to use military force. It won't work.
It won't work.
It won't work. And Nigeria won't listen. I said it on this program. Nigeria won't listen to any excuse.
Honestly.
Because they will tell you that we are entrusted with the leadership of this country. How you run the business of the country is your business. We have played our part by saying that, okay, we don't want the other man to continue. That's why we brought you in. Whether you, by the time you got there, what you are now seeing is not what is nobody's business. You should also, all they want is that let there be food on the table of Nigerians. That's the simple thing that people are asking for. Let there be infrastructural development. People are not asking that you should build a skyscraper for them.
You know,
and at this rate,
the way it is as the Yorubas will say, a leper cannot milk the cow, but the one that you have milked, you can throw it away. So we have to be very diplomatic.
Very careful.
In our dealings with them. I hope they will also see.
I think that, you know, they said something last week that Tompolo is in
Libya, yeah.
I don't believe that story. I've been saying it from the beginning.
Different kites.
And why is it that Tompolo gets mentioned all the time? This matter, you know, because I believe that Tompolo is crucial to the resolution of this matter.
Yeah.
It is the attempt to bring Tompolo to court, to put him on trial.
Yeah.
It is the decision to seize his, freeze his bank account.
Yeah.
That is behind this whole thing, because Tompolo is like a god to the militants.
Yeah.
I've said this repeatedly, and I know that will be proved right in the fullness of time. This whole thing is about Tompolo. It's his boys who are behind this whole fighting. So in the end, if federal government will say, okay,
go home and sin no more.
Go home and sin no more, I'm sure that they will
know how to reach out for them. If we have to do that, I think it's not a bad idea.
What I even learned is that before now, most of the pipelines, you know, they have been laden with bombs. That what they are just doing is just to detonate. And what does it take? You need just 3 people
And
do
then
that.
I think also that the
And I
government
think
should
that
bring back
government has
the
realized
pipeline
it.
protection contract.
To
That they
Of course,
can-
it will be part of the
Because
negotiation.
those boys,
I
then
think
they
so.
use it at
You
least
know, it's
to
like
Yeah,
when you know
yeah.
that somebody is a thief, you now, if you don't want your things to get lost, you ask him
you
to
ask him to take care of it.
you came and you just cancel the contract without thinking of the implications.
You know that
can't use
the
force
average
in
Nigerian general, they have this stubborn way of disposition. That a whole general to bow down.
We have to go. It's a complex situation.
Yeah.
I want to thank you, Yinka, for being part of this program. I want to thank you, Wahid and Jide, as usual. And that's it on Journalist Hangout. Join us tomorrow for another interesting edition of this program. You can watch the repeat broadcast this night by 11, and you can also watch Journalist Hangout on YouTube at youtube.com/TVC News Nigeria. I'm Ayodele Ozubaku. Bye for now, and God bless Nigeria.